All right, and welcome back to The Vice here on Catching Colorado. This pattern is one of my favorite dries. It's a very common dry fly pattern. This is the Elk Hair Caddis. And in the vise right now, I have a size 16 U001 hook. You can tie these a little bit bigger, but this particular size is one that I'm going to be tying up for high alpine lakes for cutthroats. So I'm going to start here with, this is a rusty brown UTC 140 thread. I'd probably recommend tying it with a 70. But the 140 is all I have in this color. So eventually I'll get one in the correct color. So I'm indifferent on this part. Some people decide to use wire. Some people decide to use tinsel. I like the tinsel. I like how it looks. So I am going to be tying in here a fine gold tinsel. This tinsel, I believe, is a Vivus. But any fine oval French tinsel will do. And then after I have that tied in, I'm going to advance my thread about, I don't know, halfway back up. And then get yourself a nice piece of hackle. This is a cape that I've gotten. This is a ginger. I think it's a ginger barred grizzly. Yes, dark ginger barred grizzly. And I'm going to prepare a piece of that for tie-in. I like to measure these. This one in particular probably fits better on a size 18 hook, but I'm okay with it on an Elk Hair Caddis on a size 16. So I'm going to tie that in, just roll it back to the bend of the hook, and then I'm going to start my dubbing. You can dub with whatever colored dubbing you like. I am going to dub with an Antron Golden Tan. So there's the skew for that. And I'm going to build a very, very fine dubbing noodle on here. You don't need a ton on an Elk Hair Caddis. You've got a lot of fluff with this fly, and I do like that tinsel to kind of show up a little bit on this fly as well. So I'm just building about a 2-inch pretty fine dubbing noodle here. I probably could have even made it a little thinner than it is now, but either way, this is what we will start with. So now I'm just going to usually start with a little more of a bulbous back and then just kind of work my way forward. Probably a little too fine right there. There we go. Now we're getting some body to it. All right. That's what I like. You'll notice I left a little bit of a gap here at the front of the hook. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my thread and I'm going to start working it back. So the idea is that I build a little cone shape here, and that cone shape is going to be a ramp for our elk hair, as well as what we build up now with the hackle. So I'm going to grab the golden tinsel and I'm going to loose wrap. This is not very, very tight. I'm just trying to give it a little bit of flash and segmentation. If you pull too tight, it'll get buried down inside of that dubbing, and it just doesn't come out as good. So I'll do a couple loose wraps here on our cone ramp. Grab the scissors, snip it free. All right, so I'm gonna take this hackle here and I'm going to start rotating the vise. And I do like to go a little thicker with the hackle here. I think any buoyancy you can get by adding more hackle, the better. So I'm gonna go pretty thick. You'll notice that thread is kind of advancing for me to the front of the hook eye. So I'm just gonna undo those couple of wraps and then come back and tie in my hackle here. So now we've got our hackle tied in, and we can go ahead and cut that out. that big piece. There we go. And then what you want to do is I want to build a ramp with this hackle on the top. We don't need it, and this is where the elk hair is going to kind of come back. So what I'm going to do is just take my scissors, get it close, and kind of ramp it up there, just like that. Just giving myself a little bit of a ramp on top to hold that elk hair in the right spot. So now we've got our little ramp, and now it's time to get the elk hair going. Today I'm using a deer hair, and I put it in a stacker, and I'm going to use a little bit less on this fly just to show you that you can change the amount of hair that you use, and it will really change the overall look of the fly. But basically what you want to do is you want to get elk hair so that you can put it enough so that you can put it to the back of the hook, maybe just past the body. Sometimes you'll go to the bend of the hook. It's kind of up to you. I like to go a little bit longer because I think why not? So I just kind of measure it out. I pinch it in between my fingers and measure where those tips are. And I think that's about good. So then I'm going to come in and I'm going to grab it with my other hand. And now I have this big vertical stack here. Now keep in mind that the thread is not advanced to the front of the hook eye. We don't want it to be. And I'm going to do one loose wrap, and then I'm going to do one more loose wrap. I'm applying very little pressure here. And I kind of like the look of that. I think that's good. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap again and then pull straight down. And you'll notice how all that elk hair starts to splay out. And then I'm going to pull down once more. And then once you have that elk hair tied in, you can grab this whole bundle of butts, all of them, pull them back, and then you can get those wraps in right on the eye. So there's 3 wraps right there. I know we're secure. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my whip finish tool, and I'm going to try to get a 3-turn whip finish in here. Trying to avoid as many of these fibers as possible, and also making sure we're staying back of the hook eye. Want a nice tie-in point if we can. I can snip my thread free, and then you've just got these butts to deal with. So this is the head of the fly, and so what I try to do is, get one hand in here, start to grab them, and you can obviously tell which ones are the butts because they don't have the fine tips. So then once I feel like I've gotten a decent amount of them, this is kind of where I do something a little bit different. I like to make sure I have all the butts. So what I'll do is I'll kind of twist the elk hair, and then I'll lift up. So now I've got kind of this bundle here of the butts. And then before I cut it, I just twist back. Now I know I've got all the butts in there. And then I'm just going to kind of, with the same direction of the top elk hair, I'm just going to cut it close and let it go straight up like that. And then I'm going to kind of trim out anything that I don't like. But we're just creating a little head with that, and that's all you're trying to do. So that right there is kind of your complete elk hair caddis. And then the last step would be, if you want, you can add a little bit of head cement or a little bit of super glue to both the head here on the top of the caddis, and then also underneath you can add a little bit to the thread there. But you just want to make sure you're avoiding that tie-in point. But that right there, minus maybe this one deer hair, elk hair there, that right there is a beautiful elk caddis pattern. This will work great on high alpine lakes. This one I tied in tan. You can tie them in green. You can tie them in brown, chestnut. You can also tie them with white elk hair so that it's completely bleached. But that right there is a beautiful fly and will absolutely catch plenty of fish. I'll just add some head cement to it, and we are done with the Elk Hair Caddis. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And if you are interested in me tying another fly or something that you'd like to learn how to tie, leave it down in the comments and I will absolutely give it a go. Alrighty, thanks so much. We'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in more relatable content, you can check out these videos right here. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe down below so you can stay updated on our next adventures.